So Microsoft To Do is the Wunderlist replacement run by Microsoft, and in this video we've outlined 10 useful tips for taking full advantage of Microsoft To Do as your main task management application. If you're new here, it would be absolutely amazing to have you as a subscriber. We do regular features about productivity tools and applications and help you choose the best ones for you. With a ton of reviews and a ton of interviews and resources, this should help you to get started. So let's go through those 10 tips for Microsoft To Do. The first tip is to add themes. This is a really subtle thing, but Microsoft actually has a range of themes that you can add to each of your lists inside this application. And it is really easy to do, and you can customize them a little bit further with both color and also a different type of background. This will also change the style of your list. So for example, when you're browsing through them, you'll be able to differentiate the difference between lists without even having to check the name of the list. So number 2 is to create areas. Now inside of Microsoft To Do, you can actually create something called groups, which help to organize your lists into different sections. So for example, if you wanted to group a bunch of social stuff, like for example, it could be your flatmates, all the cleaning duties, or whether you want to organize something for the pub trips and things like that, then you could organize that into an area or a group called friends. And you could do the same with work-based stuff as well. So it's really helpful to be able to sort lists into deeper lists, a little bit like how stacks work in Evernote. Number 3 is the ability to add an all tab. This is actually something you have to activate through the preferences, but if you activate the all tab, it'll bring in all of the different types of lists that you've got, and it'll bring it into this big stream. It's basically like seeing an everything overview, including all of your upcoming, today, and all the future stuff too. So this is handy if you wanted to see everything at a glance and be able to edit it as well. So number 4, if you're using an Android device, Microsoft To Do allows you to drag tasks into your Microsoft To Do list. So for example, if you want to drag in a little bit of text from a website or a link and drag it using the split screen, you can do that and actually add that as a task. And that's really easy to do. Number 5 is take full advantage of the My Day suggestions. Now inside of Microsoft To Do, you have this feature called My Day, which is essentially your day, the today area. And it's really nice because there's a suggestions feature, a little light bulb in the corner that you can open up, and it will bring up some suggestions based on the data around those tasks, which means you can bring them in from different lists and be able to make sure you don't miss anything at all, which is really helpful. Number 6 is to add the Microsoft To Do Chrome extension. This is an unofficial third-party application, but it will allow you to save different tasks into your Microsoft To Do without necessarily having to go to Microsoft To Do and using it through Chrome. It's really easy to use and it's free to download. Number 7 is add a list icon. Super simple tip, but the ability to add an icon is something that a lot of people will love, especially when quickly browsing through their lists. Number 8 is the ability to connect it to Zapier. So Zapier is a automation site allowing you to do different triggers. So for example, if you wanted to connect your Google Calendar with Microsoft To Do, that's something you can do inside of Zapier, and it will allow you to build relationships between the two applications so that when you do a specific task, or you add a specific task, or a new Google Calendar event is created, or a new Notion task is created in a database, then you could, for example, have an update come to Microsoft To Do with a task to get started on. So really cool, especially if you're working in teams and collaborating. Number 9 is email flagging. There's a feature inside of Microsoft Outlook allowing you to, for example, if you flagged an email, you can then get that as a task inside of your Microsoft To Do. It'll also have a link back to that email so you know what the context is. Very, very helpful for planning and really getting all of the context from a work task. And number 10, for example, you can group plan by list. So for example, if you're inside of a list for upcoming or a specific day, you can actually list it by groups, which means you can see the separation of the tasks if you want to. Instead of having necessarily a linear view, this might be particularly helpful for people using projects to be able to differentiate the difference between one project and another. Anyway, folks, hopefully you enjoyed those Microsoft To Do tips. Make sure you're subscribed here on Keep Productive, and we'll do plenty of features in the future. Anyway guys, a huge thank you. Talk to you all very soon. Cheerio.